I am Miss South Dakota USA and competing in the Miss USA organization, but I also am a full-time law student and have worked while in law school as a law clerk for several different members that are elected officials in various capacities. And before that, I actually served as a White House intern as well. So law encompasses so many different fields. If you have a specific interest, you can be in the law in business and STEM. For me, I love law and politics, so I'm in a very specific strain there, and I would like to, when I graduate, work in election law. So I'll be working on campaigns and campaign finance when people are running for office and making sure that the votes are counted properly and there's election integrity. In the pageant world, there's Miss America and then there's Miss USA. I'm competing in the Miss USA organization, which was started in the 1970s. And the organization is to empower women and to promote themselves and build their brands and to become the best versions of themselves. And you compete in interview, swimsuit and gown, or interview active wear and gown if you're a teen candidate. And you win and get the opportunity for all sorts of really incredible experiences in your community. You have a service platform, and mine is going to be working with inspiring girls to connect more women in the Miss USA organization to mentors so that they can reach their full potential as well. So it's a great way to choose an issue that you're passionate about and have a broader platform in the form of a sparkly hat to make a difference and to make an impact and have a voice. The best aspect of working in the legal sector is that you can see a tangible difference right off the bat. You know the difference that you're making, or you know whatever you're working on is going to have some kind of outcome in the end, whether it's winning the case or doing work for the client. And I like that because it gives you a little bit of instant gratification because you can see the impact that you're making right away. And then I think the worst part about it is sometimes that impact takes a long time. So while you get to see it when it's finally done, it takes a long time to write the legislation or to get it passed, or sometimes cases go on for years and years and years, but when it finally is over with, you truly get to see that change. So it's a lot of work in the making and can take sometimes people's entire lives depending on what issue they're working on. But when you finally get there, the view from the mountain, I guess, is a beautiful one. In the pageant world, I think the best part about it is that as a young woman, you get such broader opportunities that you wouldn't normally get just as a normal law student or a college student. But in the same vein, sometimes people are very judgmental, or they misunderstand what the pageant world is all about and what women in the pageant industry are doing. And who we are. And so that's one of my missions, is to reset some of the stereotypes that exist surrounding women that compete in pageantry, that you can be beautiful and also smart at the same time. I'm a first-generation college student and a first-generation lawyer, so I want everyone to know that even if your parents didn't go to college or aren't in whatever field that you want to go into, that shouldn't be a barrier for you going into that world. And I studied political science in undergrad, and I went to my state university, and then I ended up going out to Georgetown Law in Washington, D.C. So I moved all the way across the country for law school. And a lot of people say that if you go to a smaller school, it's harder to get into some of those bigger name schools. And especially for me, coming from a background where my mom is a cook and my dad runs a business, I didn't have the inside knowledge on how to necessarily do all of those things, but it didn't stop me, and it shouldn't stop anyone else from chasing their dreams. I always say that grit is the most important characteristic that you can have, regardless of what field that you're going into, because no matter what you want to do in your life, you're going to have some doors close in your face that don't always feel so good. But if you're not willing to take that with stride and keep moving forward because you have a passion or a mission, sometimes somebody's going to say no to you, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't become a lawyer. It just might be that that's not the right pathway to go down. So having that grit and being able to stand up 7 times when you've been pushed down 6 is very important. And I think that having some kind of passion or mission in your heart of hearts that you truly want to do whatever it is that you want to do for a reason that's yours and only yours. I always call it my why, or your why, is so important, because it is really hard sometimes when there are bad days for everyone. And on those bad days, if you don't have that mission or passion or broader purpose, it's harder to stand up on that 7th time. In the legal field, we need more women, and especially when it comes to politics, we especially need more women in the United States. We're behind a lot of countries in the world when it comes to women having representation at the table. So the more women, the better, and it's getting better and better with the more women that get involved. And so if you have any interest in going into politics, don't let some of the rooms you may walk into filled with men that are very intimidating stop you from going, because you're breaking through the glass ceiling for someone that might follow in your footsteps. And then in the pageant industry, I always get the, well, I could never do that, and I don't, know anything about it. I grew up on a ranch in South Dakota, and I was an only child. My parents had me doing stuff that most guys probably don't even know how to do. And I went from not owning a dress to then winning a pageant and then becoming Miss South Dakota USA, and now I'm about to compete at Miss USA. And if you would have told me at 13 that I would be competing at Miss USA, I probably would have laughed at you. So if you think that you're not good enough for whatever reason that you want to cite, you are, because the whole idea of pageantry is to demonstrate that women come from all different walks of life and to make you into the best version of yourself, not some cookie cutter mold that you think that they're looking for. And so if you want to better yourself and you want to have a broader platform to serve a mission, then Miss USA is for you too.